you just mentioned many times to what is the future, we're ready to move ahead. Let's give the audience an outlook for 2021. So Bernhard, now that the 2020 is over, the crisis or the pandemic is not over on the other side. So how can we expect private jet travelers' habits to develop? Like how can we expect that? And how is it gonna be for private jet travels in general? Business trips, leisure trips, what do you foresee?
Yeah, an important element you just mentioned is the pandemic is not over. Yeah. So the experts are saying we are diving into the biggest economic crisis since the Second World War, which is somehow alerting, right? Secondly, we see a lot of experts stating that when the population got vaccinated and the entire global vaccination progress develops, that business trips and traveling comes back. I do agree with those experts, it's right. Although I think on the other side, for economical reasons and for learnings we all made using digital tools like Zoom sessions and so on, many business trips will not come back. I'm quite convinced about that. Yeah. So I think the airliners have to respond to that particular issue that a lot of business trips volume will not come back. And on the other side, maybe a lot of leisure flights will also not come back because many people cannot afford it anymore. However, the need of personal meetings coming together is still here. I think there is a kind of vacuum. And once we have the option and the possibilities again to travel, people will travel. There will be a need to see. There's a difference meeting on site, looking face to face, reading your body language, having the experience of the environment you're in, rather than being, on a flat screen and using sophisticated tools. The need will be there, but it will change. And my outlook is that businessmen will go out for business trips. And maybe it's not only the CEOs or C-levels or the chairmen who have the need to travel on private jets for deal makings, for negotiations, for meeting customers. But maybe it's also then to senior management level. So I expect that particular our segment, so the light jet segment, will see a growth of at least 20% in 21. And we are ready to serve this additional demand. And on the other side, I would say the airliners need good solutions to respond about the changed world. But on the private jet industry, I would say we can prepare ourselves for a very strong 21.
Thank you. And Jonathan, but on the same line, how do you see booking behavior change?
We have seen a massive change between 2019 and 2020. Of course, the pandemic brought in new rules inside there. Customers were really scared of traveling, and booking a jet long-term before is also linked to potential cancellation fees if suddenly new restrictions appear. So we have seen the booking pattern changing from in the past between 2 and 5 days ahead of the flight to now a maximum of 48 hours ahead of the flight. So it's either go now or maximum 2 days before. This is what we aim for. Based on it, we also launched back in April our last minute cancellation insurance in order to offer the customer the possibility to secure a flight, and in case he has to cancel, pay only a very small fee, which is 500 euros. So it doesn't hurt so much if you need to cancel for obvious reasons. And I need to mention as well that GlobeAir is very customer friendly. In case new restrictions appear and we are no longer able to perform this flight, of course, a full refund is provided to the customer. According to the WHO and the global travel services around, Corona, basically the virus, is one of the main topic which is distributed by airlines, so by travels. We still believe that private aviation, private jets, can clearly sort it out. And of course, the new measures launched by the government, such as a required PCR test, plus potentially a quarantine, are helping to reduce this risk to a minimum. Our customer care team, which used to handle a booking in the past in only 15 minutes, now requires per booking 1 hour. Why? It's because of all the paperwork which is required by the different authorities. A flight is not anymore possible to organize within minutes, but you need really 1 hour to ensure that all the forms are completed, sent back to the airport authorities, that these are accepted, and sometimes more documents, such as a resident permit or whatever it is, are requested as well. So 15 minutes went up to 1 hour. But we've got the full power in-house to handle as well all these paperwork solutions.
So much have changed that we would like to ask Ricardo also if biosecurity and the focus on safety in that terms is going to stay, something that we didn't think about it a few years ago.
Definitely. I think like 9/11 changed the world in aviation with the security checks. I think the COVID-19 will change aviation world with all the new measures and the biosecurity and the concern about the health of each single passenger. We saw how the world changed very fast just because of a virus. We saw how it spread so fast because of the type of society that we have, the globalized world, the travel all around the world. We can access more than 90% of the world with a flight from Europe, and within those flights we have big crowds. In the airports we have long security checks. Everybody was already in a bus packed to reach from the terminal to the aircraft, and I think this will change massively in the future. We invested a lot in these preventive measures, in disinfecting our aircrafts, in continuing to use the private jet terminals to avoid crowded spaces, which will be the solution for the future. I don't expect that in the next years people will sit down in crowded buses or crowded terminals or long security lines that will even have the traditional security check. A lot of things will have to change and we'll have to be prepared. And we are in great advantage for this because as Bernhard mentioned, the study that we did a few months ago with 20 touch points compared to 700, you reduce massively the risk. And risk will be something that will be with us for a long, long time. We will all continue to take care about the contacts that we have. I remember initially we were going to a store and to see someone with a mask was something strange. Now if you see someone without mask, now is the new strange. So these measures and this biosecurity will stay with us for a long, long time.
Thank you. And I think something that will also stay, or it's something that we can argue at least, it's the happening of mass events. What do you predict for 2021?
We, as a team, we expect that these events will not happen. In line with what is coming in the news, even if the calendars of the events are coming out, but we expect that we will not have a lot of public. We see some events being planned and prepared, but all with pre-testing. So people to attend the event, they will have to perform some tests and they will have to have minimum distance within everybody. And I think this will be the new future. Also very important, and we see an interesting trend with our requests. We have more and more sports athletes flying with us, especially football players that still have to travel because a lot of them, they play in one club, but they were born and raised in another city, and maybe they have the wife and the kids in another place. So they still have to travel, but they have to fulfill a lot of restrictive measures from their clubs and national federations. So they are using private jets, contacting us and using private jets more and more in order to reduce the risk. I think we all heard about what happened in the Australian Open, how suddenly, because of one infected passenger, we have so many athletes and a competition affected. So I don't believe that major events will happen. I do believe that some will happen with some public, but will be very, very restricted.
Thank you very much. Bernhard, as the last outlook, how do you see business aviation in 2021 and in the future? Some big macro trends that you can foresee?
Yeah, so as we just shared, we were able as a team to recover from the pandemic. And we were able to come from a very low volume where we had to secure our business back in March 2020 to deliver an outstanding summer business and to deliver then even an amazing and a record fourth quarter. But I think this is not the norm. When I look around in our industry, we can see a lot of market players struggling. And I feel very sorry for those guys because I know everybody's working very hard and want to get out of this crisis, you know. But we can see this, not everybody's in the fortunate situation as we are. And usually, if you go back in history, any crisis, even if it's a pandemic, is a catalyst for consolidation. Yeah. So we have seen a trend since the Lehman crisis back in 2008 that even our highly fragmented industry will consolidate. And there was a clear trend over the last few years. And I'm convinced, as many experts are same opinion, that the consolidation speed will increase. We'll see more and more small operators have to merge or have to sell their business, and that's why I'm convinced that the number of operators will shrink, while the number of fleet sizes managed by one operator will grow. Absolutely, this evidence is already here, and we are ready to respond to that.
Thank you.